Hello, welcome back to another First Chapter Friday. Today we'll be furthering our exploration of dystopian fiction, and this time we're going to be exploring some that also have a romantic bend. So I have a little pink filter on here, and maybe, everyone's going to, feel a little more chill and get that vibe. Anyway, here's our matched book, will be our first one. And because it's such a short book, we're going to also do the, not short book, but short chapter. We're also going to be doing this book as well. So let us begin. Okay, first of all, this book Matched is by Ally Condie, and it was a New York Times bestseller, Publisher Weekly Best Children's Book, a Texas Lone Star reading list, a Chicago Public Library Best Book, an ALA Best Fiction for Young Adults, and finally an ALA Quick Pick. So winning all those awards hopefully will be impressive to you. There's a tiny prologue here. The matching ceremony. Cassia Reyes, the Society is pleased to present you with your match. I smile as Xander's face appears on the port screen immediately following the recorded message. It's a good picture of him. As always, his smile looks bright and real, his blue eyes kind. He is handsome. I never dared think that he might be my match. Of course, but now that it's happened, I am interested, intrigued, a little scared about how this might change our friendship, but mostly just happy. I read up to touch the words courtship guidelines on the screen, but before I do, Xander's face darkens and then disappears. The port screen beeps and a voice says, Cassia Reyes, the Society is pleased to present you with your match. My heart stops, and I can't believe what I see. A face comes back into view on the port in front of me, and it's not Xander. Now that I've found the way to fly, which direction should I go into the night? My wings aren't white or feathered, they're green, made of green silk, which shudders in the wind and bends when I move, first in a circle, then in a line, finally in the shape of my own invention. The black behind me doesn't worry me, neither do the stars ahead. I smile at myself, at the foolishness of my imagination. People cannot fly, though before the Society there were myths about those who could. I saw a painting of them once, white wings, blue sky, gold circles above their heads. Eyes turned up in surprise as though they couldn't believe what the artist had painted them doing. Couldn't believe that their feet didn't touch the ground. Those stories weren't true, I know that, but tonight it's easy to forget. The air train glides through the starry night so smoothly that my heart pounds so quickly that it feels as though I could soar into the sky at any moment. What are you smiling about? Xander wonders as I smooth the folds of my green silk dress down neat. Everything, I tell him, and it's true. I've waited so long for this, my match banquet, where I'll see, for the very first time, the face of the boy who will be my match. It will be the first time I hear his name. I can't wait. As quickly as the air train moves, it still isn't fast enough. It hushes through the night, its sound a background for the low rain of our parents' voices, the lightning-quick beats of my heart. Perhaps Xander can hear my heart pounding too, because he asks, Are you nervous? In the seat next to him, Xander's older brother begins to tell my mother the story of his match banquet. It won't be long now until Xander and I have our own stories to tell. No, I say, but Xander's my best friend. He knows me too well. You lie, he teases. You are nervous, aren't you? Not me, I'm ready. He says it without hesitation, and I believe him. Xander is the kind of person who is sure about what he wants. It doesn't matter if you're nervous, Cassia, he says, gently now. Almost 93% of those attending their match banquet exhibit some signs of nervousness. Did you memorize all of the official matching material? Almost, Xander says, grinning. He holds his hands out as if to say, what'd you expect? The gesture makes me laugh, and besides, I memorized all the material too. It's easy to do when you read it so many times, when the decision is so important. So you're in the minority, I say. The 7% who don't show any nerves at all. Of course, he agrees. How could you tell I was nervous? Because you keep opening and closing that. Xander points to the golden object in my hands. I didn't know you had an artifact. A few treasures from the past float around among us. Though citizens of the society are allowed one artifact each, they are hard to come by, unless you had ancestors who took care to pass things along through the years. I didn't until a few hours ago, I tell him. Grandfather gave it to me for my birthday. It belonged to his mother. What's it called? Xander asks. A compact, I say. I like the name very much. Compact means small. I am small. I also like the way it sounds when you say it. Compact. Saying the word makes it a sound like the one the artifact itself makes when it snaps shut. What do the initials and the numbers mean? I'm not sure. I run my fingers across the letters ACM and the numbers 1940 carved across the golden surface. But look, I tell him, popping the compact open to show him inside. A little mirror made of real glass and a small hollow where the original owner once stored powder for her face, according to grandfather. Now I use it to hold the 3 emergency tablets that everyone carries, 1 green, 1 blue, 1 red. That's convenient, Xander says. He stretches out his arms in front of him, and I notice that he has an artifact too, a pair of shiny platinum cufflinks. My father lent me these, but you can't put anything in them. They're completely useless. Well, they look nice, though. My gaze travels up to Xander's face, to his bright blue eyes and blonde hair above his dark suit and white shirt. He's always been handsome, even when we were little, but I never seen him dressed up like this. Boys don't have as much leeway in choosing clothes as girls do. One suit looks much like another. Still, they get to select the color of their shirts and the cravats, and the quality of the material is much finer than the material used for plain clothes. You look nice. The girl who finds out that he's her match will be thrilled. Nice, Xander says, lifting his eyebrows. That's all? Xander, his mother says next to him, amusement mingled with reproach in her voice. You look beautiful, Xander tells me. I flush a little. Even though I've known Xander all of my life, I feel beautiful in this dress, ice green, floating, full-skirted. The unaccustomed smoothness of silk against my skin makes me feel lithe and graceful. Next to me, my mother and father each draw a breath as City Hall comes into view, lit up white and blue and sparkling with the special occasion lights that indicate a celebration is taking place. I can't see the marble stairs in front of the hall yet, but I know that they will be polished and shiny. All of my life I have waited to walk up those clean marble steps and through the doors of the hall, a building I have seen from a distance but never entered. I want to open the compact and check in the mirror to make sure that I look my best, but I don't want to seem vain, so I sneak a glance at my face in its surface instead. The rounded lid of the compact distorts my features a little, but it's still me. My green eyes, my coppery brown hair, which looks more golden in the compact than it does in real life. My straight small nose, my chin with the trace of a dimple like my grandfather's. All the outward characteristics that make me Cassia Maria Reyes, a 17-year-old exactly. I turn the compact over in my hands, looking at how perfectly the two sides fit together. My match is already coming together just as neatly, beginning with the fact that I'm here tonight. Since my birthday falls on the 15th, the day the banquet is held each month. I'd always hoped that I might be matched on my actual birthday, but I knew it might not happen. You can be called up for your banquet any time during the year after you turn 17. When the notification came across the port 2 weeks ago that I would, indeed, be matched on the day of my birthday, I could almost hear the clean snap of the pieces fitting into place, exactly as I dreamed for so long. Because although I haven't had to wait a full day for my match, in some ways I have waited all my life. "Cassia," my mother says, smiling at me. I blink and look up, startled. My parents stand up, ready to disembark. Xander stands up too and straightens his sleeves. I hear him take a deep breath and I smile to myself. Maybe he is a little nervous after all. "Here we go," he says to me. His smile is so kind and good. I'm glad we're called up the same month. We've shared so much of childhood. It seems we should share the end of it too. I smile back at him and give him the best greeting we have in the society. "I wish you optimal results," I tell Xander. "You too, Cassia," he says. As we step off the air train and walk towards City Hall, my parents each link an arm through mine. I am surrounded, as I have always been, by their love. It's only the three of us tonight. My brother Bram can't come to the match banquet because he is under 17, too young to attend. The first one you attend is always your own. I, however, will be able to attend Bram's banquet because I am the oldest sibling. I smile to myself, wondering what Bram's match will be like. In 7 years, I will find out. But tonight is my night. It's easy to identify those of us being matched. Not only are we younger than all the others, but we also float along in beautiful dresses and tailored suits while our parents and older siblings walk around in plainclothes, a background against which we bloom. The city officials smile proudly at us, and my heart swells as we enter the rotunda. In addition to Xander, who waves goodbye to me as he crosses the room to his seating area, I see another girl I know named Leah. She picked the bright red dress. It's a good choice for her because she is beautiful enough that standing out works in her favor. She looks worried, however, and she keeps twisting her artifact, a jeweled red bracelet. I'm a little surprised to see Leah there. I would have picked her for a single. "Look at this china," my father says as we find our place at the banquet tables. "It reminds me of the Wedgwood pieces we found last year." My mother looks at me and rolls her eyes in amusement. Even at the match banquet, my father can't stop himself from noticing these things. My father spends months working in old neighborhoods that are being restored and turned into new boroughs for public use. He sifts through the relics of society that is not as far in the past as it seems. Right now, for example, he is working on a particularly interesting restoration project, an old library. He sorts out the things that society has marked as valuable from the things that are not. But then I have to laugh because my mother can't help but comment on the flowers, since they fall in her area of expertise as an arboretum worker. "Oh, Cassia, look at the centerpieces. Lilies!" She squeezes my hand. "Please be seated," an official tells us from the podium. "Dinner is about to be served." It's almost comical how quickly we all take our seats, because we might admire the china and the flowers, and we might be here for our matches, but we also can't wait to taste the food. "They say this dinner is always wasted on the matchees," a jovial-looking man sitting across from us says, smiling around our table. "So excited they can't eat a bite." And it is true. One of the girls sitting farther down the table wearing a pink dress stared at her plate, touching nothing. I don't seem to have this problem, however. Though I don't gorge myself, I can eat something of everything. The roasted vegetables, the savory meat, the crisp greens, and the creamy cheese. The warm light bread. The meal seems like a dance, as though this is a ball as well as a banquet. The waiters slide the plates in front of us with graceful hands. The food, wearing herbs and garnishes, is as dressed up as we are. We lift the white napkins, the silver forks, the shining crystal goblets, as if in time to music. My father smiles happily as a server sets a piece of chocolate cake with fresh cream before him at the end of the meal. "Wonderful," he whispers, so softly that only my mother and I can hear him. My mother laughs a little at him, teasing him, and reaches for her hand. I understand this enthusiasm when I take a bite of cake, which is rich but not overwhelming, deep and dark and flavorful. It is the best thing I have eaten since the traditional dinner at winter holiday, months ago. I wish Bram could have some cake, and for a minute I think about saving some of mine for him. But there is no way to take it back to him. It wouldn't fit in my compact. It would be bad form to hide it away in my mother's purse, even if she would agree. And she won't. My mother doesn't break rules. I can't save it for later, so it's now or never. I half just popped the last bite in my mouth when the announcer says, "We are ready to announce the matches." I swallow in surprise, and for a second I feel an unexpected surge of anger. I didn't get to save her that last bite of cake. "Leah Abbey." Leah twists her bracelet furiously as she stands, waiting to see the face flash on the screen. She is careful to hold her hands low, though, so that the boy seeing her in another city hall somewhere will only see her beautiful blonde girl, not her worried hands twisting and turning that bracelet. It is strange how we hold on to the pieces of the past while we wait for our futures. There is a system, of course, to the matching. In city halls across the country, all filled with people, the matches are announced in alphabetical order according to the girls' last names. I feel slightly sorry for the boys who have no idea when their names will be called, when they must just stand for girls in other city halls to receive them as matches. Since my last name is Reyes, I will be somewhere at the end of the middle. The beginning of the end. The screen flashes with face of a boy, blond and handsome. He smiles as soon as he sees Leah's face on the screen where he is, and she smiles too. "Joseph Peterson," the announcer says. "Leah Abbey, you have been matched with Joseph Peterson." The hostess presiding over the banquet brings Leah a small silver box. The same thing happens to Joseph Peterson on the screen. When Leah sits down, she looks at the silver box longingly, as though she wishes she could open it right away. I don't blame her. Inside the box is a microcard with background information about her match. We all receive them later. Later, the boxes will be used to hold the rings for the marriage contract. The screen flashes back to the default picture, a boy, a girl, smiling at each other, with glimmering lights and white-coated official in the background. Although the society times the matching to be as efficient as possible, there are still moments when the screen goes back to this picture, which means that we all have to wait while something happens somewhere else. It's so complicated, the matching, and I am again reminded of the intricate steps of the dances they used so long ago. This dance, however, is one that the society alone can choreograph now. The picture shimmers away. The announcer calls another name. Another girl stands up. Soon more and more people at the banquet have little silver boxes. Some people set them on the white tablecloths in front of them, but most hold the boxes carefully, unwilling to let their futures out of their hands so soon after receiving them. I don't see any other girls wearing the green dress. I don't mind. I don't look like everyone else. I wait, holding my compact in one hand and my mother's hand in the other. Her palm feels sweaty. For the first time, I realize that she and my father are nervous too. Cassia Maria Reyes. It's my turn. I stand up, letting go of my mother's hand, and I turn toward the screen. I feel my heart pounding, and I'm tempted to twist my hands the way Leah did. But I hold perfectly still with my chin up and my eyes on the screen. I watch and wait, determined that the girl my match will see on the screen in his city hall, somewhere out there in society, will be poised and calm and lovely, the very best image of Cassia Maria Reyes that I can present. But nothing happens. I stand and look at the screen, and as the seconds go by, it's all I can do to stay still, all I can do to keep smiling. Whispers start around me. Out of the corner of my eye, I see my mother move her hand as if to take mine again, but then she pulls it back. A girl in a green dress stands waiting, her heart pounding. Me. The screen is dark, and it stays dark. That can only mean one thing. That you're going to have to read Chapter 2 to see what it means. All right, so that is all for Matched. And our next super short chapter is from the book Delirium. This is by Lauren Oliver, and she is also a best-selling author, and some of her works have been turned into movies, such as Before I Fall. So this is a two-sequel book. The Matched book was a part of a trilogy. Okay. Chapter 1. The most dangerous sicknesses are those that make us believe we are well. Proverb 42, the book of Shh. It's been 64 years since the president and the consortium identified love as a disease, and 43 since the scientists perfected a cure. Everyone else in my family has had the procedure already. My older sister, Rachel, has been disease-free for 9 years now. She's been safe from love for so long, she says she can't even remember its symptoms. I'm scheduled to have my procedure in exactly 95 days, on September 3rd, my birthday. Many people are afraid of the procedure. Some people even resist. But I'm not afraid. I can't wait. I would have had it done tomorrow if I could, but you have to be 18, sometimes a little older, before the scientists will cure you. Otherwise, the procedure won't work correctly. People end up with brain damage, partial paralysis, blindness, or worse. I don't like to think that I'm still walking around with the disease running through my blood. Sometimes I swear I can feel it writhing in my veins like something spoiled, like sour milk. It makes me feel dirty. It reminds me of children throwing tantrums. It reminds me of resistance, of diseased girls dragging their nails on pavement, tearing out their hair, their mouths dripping spit. And of course it reminds me of my mother. After the procedure, I will be happy and safe forever. That was what everyone says, the scientists and my sister and Aunt Carol. I will have the procedure, and then I will be paired with the boy that the evaluators choose for me. In a few years, we will get married. Recently, I've started having dreams about my wedding. In them, I'm standing under a white canopy with flowers in my hair and holding hands with someone, but whenever I turn to look at him, his face blurs. like a camera losing focus, and I can't make out any features. But his hands are cool and dry, and my heart is beating steadily in my chest. And in my dreams, I know it will always beat out that same rhythm. Not skip or jump or swirl or go faster. Just whomp, whomp, whomp until I'm dead. Safe and free from pain. Things weren't always as good as they are now. In school, we learned that in the old days, the dark days, people didn't realize how deadly a disease love was. For a long time, they even viewed it as a good thing, something to be celebrated and pursued. Of course, that's one of the reasons it's so dangerous. It affects your mind so that you cannot think clearly or make rational decisions about your own well-being. That's symptom number 12, listed in the Amor Deliria Nervosa section of the 12th edition of the Safety, Health, and Happiness Handbook, or the Book of Shh, as we call it. Instead, people back then named other diseases: stress, heart disease, anxiety, depression, hypertension, insomnia, bipolar disorder, never realizing that these were, in fact, only symptoms that, in the majority of cases, could be traced back to the effects of Amor Deliria Nervosa. Of course, we aren't yet totally free from the deliria in the United States until the procedure has been perfected, until it has been made safe for the under 18s. We will never be totally protected. It still moves around us with invisible, sweeping tentacles, choking us. I've seen countless uncureds dragged to their procedures, so racked and ravaged by love that they would rather tear their eyes out or try to impale themselves on barbed wire fences outside the laboratories than to be without it. Several years ago, on the day of her procedure, one girl managed to slip from her restraints and find her way to the laboratory roof. She dropped quickly, without screaming. For days afterward, they broadcast the image of the dead girl's face on television to remind us of the dangers of the deliria. Her eyes were open, and her neck was twisted in an unnatural angle. But from the way her cheek was resting against the pavement, you might otherwise think she had lain down to take a nap. Surprisingly, there had been very little blood, just a small dark trickle at the corner of her mouth. 95 days, and then I'll be safe. I'm nervous, of course. I wonder whether the procedure will hurt. I want to get it over with. It's hard to be patient. It's hard not to be afraid while I'm still uncured, though so far the deliria hasn't touched me yet. Still, I worry. They say that in the old days, love drove people to madness. That's bad enough. The Book of Shh also tells stories of those who died because of love lost or never found, which is what terrifies me the most. The deadliest of all deadly things. It kills you both when you have it and when you don't. That is it for Chapter 1. All right, I hope that you're intrigued by these two stories, these first chapters, and that you try these books out. And of course, if you're at our school, please do a review for them so that you have a chance to win a prize for the end of the month. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next Friday for First Chapter Friday.